Tonight we're going to do Sutta 112, the Sixfold Purity in the Middle Length Sayings. Tonight we're going to do Sutta 112, the Sixfold Purity in the Middle Length Sayings. This is an important sutta because these are the questions that you would ask a monk if he claims that he's become an Arahant. If we had more Arahants in the world right now, think about somebody with a mind that never has ignorance in it, it never has craving in it. What kind of questions could you ask him?
How you can get rid of your ignorance.
Well,
I don't know.
Somebody that completely and thoroughly understands dependent origination. I mean, the advantages of that would just be remarkable. Anyway, thus have I heard on one occasion the Blessed One was living at Sawati in Jeta's Grove, Aneth and Pendika's Park. There he addressed the monks thus. Monks, venerable sir, they replied, the Blessed One said this. Here, monks, a monk makes a declaration of final knowledge thus. I understand birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done, there is no more coming to any state of being. That monk's words should neither be approved nor disapproved. Without approving or disapproving, a question should be put to him thus. Friend, there are four kinds of expression rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, accomplished and fully awakened. What four? One speaks of the seen as it was seen. One speaks of the heard as it was heard. One speaks of the sensed as it was sensed. One speaks of the cognized as it was cognized. These, friend, are the four kinds of expression rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, accomplished and fully awakened. How does the Venerable One know? How does he see regarding these four kinds of expression? So that through not craving and clinging, his mind is liberated from the taints. Monks, when a monk is one with taints destroyed, who has lived the holy life, done what had to be done, laid down the burden, reached the true goal, destroyed the fetters of being, and is completely liberated through final knowledge, this is the natural way for him to answer. Friends, regarding the seen, I abide unattracted, unrepelled, independent, detached, free, dissociated, with a mind rid of barriers. Regarding the heard, I abide unattracted, unrepelled, independent, detached, free, dissociated, with a mind rid of barriers. Regarding the sensed, I abide unattracted, unrepelled, independent, detached, free, dissociated, with a mind rid of barriers. Regarding the cognized, I abide unattracted, unrepelled, independent, detached, free, dissociated, with a mind rid of barriers. It is by knowing thus and seeing thus regarding these four kinds of expression that through not craving and clinging my mind is liberated from the taints. Saying good, one may delight and rejoice in that monk's words, Having done so, a further question may be put to him thus. Friend, there are these 5 aggregates affected by craving and clinging, rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, accomplished and fully awakened. What 5? They are the material form aggregate affected by craving and clinging, the feeling aggregate affected by craving and clinging, the perception aggregate affected by craving and clinging, the formations aggregate affected by craving and clinging, the consciousness aggregate affected by craving and clinging. These, friend, are the 5 aggregates affected by craving and clinging, rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, accomplished and fully awakened. How does the Venerable One know? How does he see regarding these 5 aggregates affected by craving and clinging, so that through not craving and clinging his mind is liberated from the taints? Monks, when a monk is one with taints destroyed and is completely liberated through final knowledge, this is the natural way for him to answer. Friends, having known material form to be feeble, fading away and comfortless, with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up and relinquishing of attraction, and craving and clinging regarding material form, of mental standpoints, adherences and underlying tendencies regarding material form, I have understood that my mind is liberated. Friends, having known feeling to be feeble, fading away and comfortless, with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up and relinquishing of attraction, and craving and clinging regarding feeling, of mental standpoints, adherences, underlying tendencies regarding feeling, I have understood my mind is liberated. Having known perception to be feeble, fading away and comfortless, with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up, relinquishing of attraction, and craving and clinging regarding material form, of mental standpoints, adherences and underlying tendencies regarding perception, I have understood my mind is liberated. Having known formations to be feeble, fading away and comfortless, with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up and relinquishing of attraction, and craving and clinging regarding formations, of mental standpoints, adherences and underlying tendencies regarding formations, I have understood my mind is liberated. Having known consciousness to be feeble, fading away and comfortless, with the destruction and fading away, cessation, giving up and relinquishing of attraction, and craving and clinging regarding consciousness, of mental standpoints, adherences and underlying tendencies regarding consciousness, I have understood my mind is liberated. It is by knowing thus, seeing thus, regarding these 5 aggregates affected by craving and clinging, that through not craving and clinging my mind is liberated from the taints. Saying good, one may delight and rejoice in that monk's words. Having done so, a further question may be put thus. Friend, there are these 6 elements rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One, who knows and sees, accomplished and fully awakened. What six? They are the earth element, the water element, the fire element, the air element, the space element, and the consciousness element. These, friend, are the six elements rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, accomplished and fully awakened. How does the Venerable One know? How does he see regarding these six elements? So that through not craving and clinging, his mind is liberated from the taints. Monks, when a monk is one with taints destroyed and is completely liberated through final knowledge, this is the natural way for him to answer. Friends, I have treated the earth element as not self. With no self, I've treated the earth element impersonally. With impersonally, I've impersonally based this on the earth element. And with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up, and relinquishing of attraction, and craving and clinging, based on the earth element, of mental standpoints, adherences, and underlying tendency based on the earth element, I have understood that my mind is liberated. Friends, I have treated the water element impersonally, with no self based on the water element. With the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up, relinquishing of attraction, and craving and clinging based on the water element of mental standpoints, adherences, underlying tendencies based on the water element, I have understood my mind is liberated. Now, when we're talking about the first four elements, we're talking about the body. Seeing everything in the body as being impersonal. Friends, I have treated the fire element as impersonal, with no self based on the fire element. And with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up, relinquishing of attraction, craving, and clinging, based on the earth element, or the fire element, of mental standpoints, adherences, underlying tendency, based on the fire element, I have understood my mind is liberated. Friends, I have treated the air element as impersonal, with no self based on the air element, and with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up, relinquishing of attraction, fading away, and relinquishing of attraction and craving and clinging based on the air element of mental standpoints, adherences, and underlying tendency based on the air element, I have understood that my mind is liberated. Friends, I have treated the space element as impersonal, with no self based on in the space element, with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up, and relinquishing of attraction, craving, and clinging, based on the space element of mental standpoints, adherences, and underlying tendencies based on the space element, I have understood that my mind is liberated. Friends, I have treated the consciousness element as impersonal, with no self based on the consciousness element, and with the fading away, cessation, giving up, and relinquishing of attraction, craving, and clinging based on the consciousness element, of mental standpoints, adherences, and underlying tendencies based on the consciousness element, I have understood that my mind is liberated. It is by knowing thus, seeing thus, regarding these 6 elements, that through not craving and clinging my mind is liberated from the taints. Saying good, one may delight and rejoice in that monk's words. Having done so, a further question may be put thus. But friend, there are these 6 internal and external bases rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, accomplished and fully awakened. What 6? There are the eye and forms, the ear and sounds, the nose and odors, the tongue and flavors, the body and tangibles, the mind and mind objects. These, friend, are the 6 internal and external bases rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, accomplished and fully awakened. How does the Venerable One know? How does he see regarding these 6 internal and external bases, so that through not craving and clinging his mind is liberated from the taints? Monks, when a monk is one with taints destroyed and is completely liberated through final knowledge, this is the natural way for him to answer. Friends, with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up and relinquishing of desire, lust, delight, craving, attraction, and clinging, and of mental standpoints, adherences, and underlying tendencies in regard to the eye, forms, eye consciousness, and things cognizable by the mind, through eye consciousness, I have understood that my mind is liberated. With the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up, and relinquishing of desire, lust, delight, craving, attraction, and clinging, and of mental standpoints, adherences, and underlying tendencies regarding the ear and sounds, ear consciousness, and things cognizable by the mind through ear consciousness, regarding the nose, odor, nose consciousness, and things cognizable by mind through nose consciousness. Regarding the tongue and flavors, tongue consciousness, and things cognizable by mind through tongue consciousness. Regarding the body, tangibles, body consciousness, and things cognizable by mind through body consciousness. Regarding mind, mind objects, and mind consciousness, and things cognizable by the mind through mind consciousness, I have understood that my mind is liberated. It is by knowing thus, seeing thus, regarding these 6 internal and external bases, that through not craving and clinging my mind is liberated from the taints. Saying good, one may delight and rejoice in that monk's words. Having done so, a further question may be put thus. But friend, how does the Venerable One know? How does he see, so that in regard to this body with its consciousness and all external signs, eye-making, mind-making, and underlying tendency to conceit have been eradicated in him? Monks, When a monk is one with taints destroyed and is completely liberated through final knowledge, this is the natural way for him to answer. Friends, formerly when I lived the home life I was ignorant. Then the Tathagata or his disciple taught me the Dhamma. On hearing the Dhamma, I acquired faith in the Tathagata. Possessing that faith I considered thus: household life is crowded and dusty, life gone forth is wide open. It is not easy while living in a home to lead a holy life utterly perfect and pure as a polished shell. Suppose I shave off my hair and beard and put on the yellow robe and go forth from the home life into homelessness. On a later occasion, abandoning a small or large fortune, abandoning a small or large circle of relations, I shaved off my beard and my hair and beard, put on the yellow robe, and went forth from the home life into homelessness. Having thus gone forth, possessing a monk's training and way of life. 51:14. Abandoning the killing of living beings, he abstains from killing living beings with rod and weapons laid aside. Conscientious, merciful, he abides compassionate to all living beings, abandoning the taking of what is not given. He abstains from taking what is not given, taking only what is given, accepting only what is given. By not stealing, he abides in purity. Abandoning in celibacy, he observes celibacy. Living apart, abstaining from the vulgar practice of sexual intercourse. Abandoning false speech, he abstains from false speech. He speaks truth, adheres to truth, is trustworthy and reliable, one who is no deceiver of the world. Abandoning malicious speech, he abstains from malicious speech. He does not repeat elsewhere what he has heard here in order to divide those people from these, nor does he repeat to these people what he has heard elsewhere in order to divide these people from those. Thus he is one who reunites those who are divided, a promoter of friendship who enjoys concord, rejoices in concord, delights in concord, a speaker of words that promote concord. Abandoning harsh speech, he abstains from harsh speech. He speaks such words as are gentle, pleasing to the ear, and lovable, as go to the heart, are courteous, desired by many, and agreeable to many. Abandoning gossip, he abstains from gossip. He speaks at the right time, speaks what is fact, speaks what is good, speaks on the Dhamma and discipline. At the right time, he speaks such words as are worth recording, reasonable, moderate, and beneficial. He abstains from injuring seeds and plants. He practices eating one meal a day, abstaining from eating at night and outside the proper time. He abstains from dancing, singing, music, and theatrical shows. He abstains from wearing garlands, smartening himself with scent, and embellishing himself with unguents. He abstains from high and luxurious couches. He abstains from accepting gold and silver. He abstains from accepting raw grain. He abstains from accepting raw meat. He abstains from accepting women and girls. He abstains from accepting men and women slaves. He abstains from accepting goats and sheep. He abstains from accepting fowl and pigs. He abstained from accepting elephants, cattle, horses, and mares. He abstains from accepting fields and land. He abstains from going on errands and running messages. He abstains from buying and selling. He abstains from false weights, false metals, and false measures. He abstains from accepting bribes, deceiving, defrauding, and trickery. He abstains from wounding, murdering, binding, brigandage, plunder, and violence. He becomes content with robes to protect his body, and with alms food to maintain his stomach, and wherever he goes he is set out taking only these with him. Just as a bird, wherever he goes, flies with his wings as his own burden, so too the monk becomes content with robes to protect the body, with alms food to maintain his stomach, and wherever he sets out, taking only these with him, possessing this aggregate of noble virtue, he experiences within himself a bliss that is blameless. On seeing a form with the eye, he does not grasp at its signs and features, since if he left the eye faculty unguarded, evil, unwholesome states of covetousness and grief might invade him. He practices the way of its restraint. He guards the eye faculty. He understands the restraint of the eye faculty on hearing a sound with the ear, on smelling an odor with the nose, on tasting a flavor with the tongue, on touching a tangible with the body, on cognizing a mind object with mind. He does not grasp at its signs and features, since if he left mind faculty unguarded, evil, unwholesome states of covetousness and grief might invade him. He practices the way of its restraint. He guards his mind faculty. He undertakes the restraint of mind faculty. Possessing this noble restraint of the faculties, he experiences within himself a bliss that is unsullied. He becomes one who acts in full awareness when going forward and returning, who acts in full awareness when looking ahead and looking away, who acts in full awareness when flexing and extending his limbs, who acts in full awareness when wearing his robe and carrying his outer robe and bowl, who acts in full awareness when eating, drinking, consuming food, and tasting, who acts in full awareness when defecating and urinating, who acts in full awareness when walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking up, talking, and keeping silent. Possessing this aggregate of noble virtue, and this noble restraint of the faculties, and possessing this noble mindfulness and full awareness, he resorts to a secluded place, the forest, the root of a tree, a mountain, a ravine, a hillside cave, a charnel ground, a jungle thicket, an open space, a heap of straw. He purifies his mind from the 5 hindrances. Having thus abandoned these hindrances, imperfections of mind that weaken wisdom, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, I entered upon and abided in the first jhana, which is accompanied by thinking and examining thought, with joy and happiness born of seclusion. With the stilling of applied and sustained thought, I entered upon and abided in the second jhana. Which has self-confidence and stillness of mind, without thinking and examining thought, with joy and happiness born of collectedness. With the fading away of joy, I abided in equanimity, mindful and fully aware, still feeling pleasure with the body. I entered upon and abided in the third jhana, on account of which noble ones announce, he has a pleasant abiding, who has equanimity and is mindful. With the abandoning of pleasure and pain, with the previous disappearance of joy and grief, I entered upon and abided in the fourth jhana, which has neither pain nor pleasure, and purity of mindfulness due to equanimity. When my collected mind was thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfections, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, I directed it to the knowledge of the destruction of taints. I directly knew as it actually is, this is suffering. This is the origin of suffering. This is the cessation of suffering. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. I directly knew as it actually is, these are the taints. This is the origin of the taints. This is the cessation of the taints. This is the way leading to the cessation of the taints. When I knew and saw thus, my mind was liberated from the taint of sensual desire, from the taint of being, of experience, from the taint of ignorance. When it was liberated, there came the knowledge it is liberated. I directly knew birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. Now, when we're just talking about the four jhanas, stop. When we're talking about the four jhanas, we're also talking about the four immaterial jhanas too. And that's what this is about, going through all of the jhanas. It is by knowing thus, seeing thus, friend, that in regard to this body with its consciousness and all external signs, I-making, mind-making, and the underlying tendency to conceit have been eradicated by me. That means he's let go of all craving and ignorance. Saying good, one may delight and rejoice in that monk's words. Having done so, one should say to him, it is a gain for us, friend. It is a great gain for us, friend, that we have such a companion in the holy life as the Venerable One. That is what the Blessed One said. The monks were satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. So this gives you an idea of what that monk actually has given up. He sees everything as being an impersonal process. He sees that there is no controller. There is just the arising and passing away of phenomena. Those are the two hardest things to realize. Now, when I say realize, I mean you really do understand deeply from your direct experience that there is no controller. So the more you keep practicing and the more you start seeing all of this stuff that's coming through your mind and body as just being stuff. It's not important at all. Then you'll be able to stay with your object of meditation a little bit longer because you 6R this stuff that pulls your mind away. But there's still going to be some attachments that arise. And the more you can see it, recognize it, and realize for yourself that it's not you, it's not yours, that it doesn't have anything to do with you. It's all just impersonal stuff. You'll be able to see when contact occurs, how feeling arises. You relax right at feeling. The rest of the links will not arise. And then you'll see, not necessarily the six sense doors, but you'll see mentality and materiality arise. Now you're starting to get into the more subtle things. But as soon as you see that starting to arise and you 6R that, then all of the rest of the preceding steps of dependent origination won't arise. That's how you gain the eye of wisdom, by using the 6Rs.
This makes me laugh. Just, what we started with just takes us all the way.
That's right. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
It's really an amazing process, and well, from the first day that I talked to you, I've been telling you about the 6Rs, and every day I tell you about the 6Rs. Why do I keep doing that? Because they're important. And the 6Rs will lead you right to Nibbana. Nibbana is not something to be afraid of. I mean, think about your life. If you lose the belief in a personal self, how much easier would your life be? How much less suffering will you have? And you lose doubt, and you lose the belief that anything else outside of the 6Rs is going to take you to Nibbana. Any rites and rituals, any of that kind of thing. If you're lucky enough to get to the second stage, and I am not a fortune teller. Okay, I can't tell you when something, what stage you're going to be at or anything. It'll happen. When the conditions are right, it will happen by itself, and it might happen that you get to be an anagami right straight off. You don't have to go through each step of the steps of awakening. You don't have to become a Sotapanna, then a Sakdagami, then an Anagami, then an Arahant. It depends on you and your understanding. So it's a very important thing to look forward to, not to be afraid of it. all the way up to becoming an anagami, you can stay a layman. When you become an Arahant, you need to take the robes on. You need the purity of the Sangha. But what do you do when you become an Arahant? You are a person that doesn't have any hatred or lust or conceit.
Suffering?
No. Well, it depends. You can still have some physical problems. Like the Buddha had a backache in the last part of his life. You can have physical problems and you can still get sick. But it doesn't make your mind upset by it. You understand that this is what it is, and it's going to go through whatever it's going to go through because of past karma. And it's okay. Your mind doesn't shake. Because there's nothing that can arise that will make your mind shake. Somebody can come up with you with a stick and whap you all over the place, and you won't even have anger arise. Wouldn't that be nice? Not to have somebody hit you, but to, okay.
It's not,
So the whole point of learning how to do this is you get less and less suffering as you go along, because your mind starts getting more and more in a state of balance. You'll still have a little bit of high and a little bit of low as life goes on. But you're not going to get caught for near as long. And you're not going to get into any kind of revenge stuff or anything like that. Because it just isn't worth it. So, the more you continue to practice, the less suffering you experience. It doesn't matter what kind of attachment you have. When you 6R it, that attachment becomes less and less, and then it won't even bother you after a while. It'll fade away. And what takes its place? Relief, joy, happiness, more equanimity. Your mind stays balanced and clear, no matter what anybody else around you is doing. So there's some real advantages of doing this practice. And you're starting to see some. So how's your meditation going since I changed it?
It's really cool.
I thought you'd like it. Okay, now when you're radiating in that direction, there's no boundaries. Just let it keep going out and out and out in each one of the directions. And then when you start doing it in all directions at the same time, it's like a bubble that kind of gets bigger, and it just keeps going out. That's real good. Okay? Thought you'd like that. Now, you don't do anything with the spiritual friends anymore. You only send loving kindness to yourself when you feel like you need it. And then you continue with your walking, with your sitting, with your eating, and everything that you're doing, just radiating loving kindness to all beings, all the directions. Okay?
Sounds great.
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, as soon as I started in front, like the first direction, you could just, could feel it already. It was really cool.
Yeah, you don't have to verbalize.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just radiate.
I was verbalizing.
Where? Yeah, I thought you were. You just radiate in the direction that you point your mind. This is called the immeasurable states of mind. Because there's no boundaries, there's no limit. Okay? So, you have any questions?
Radiating it doesn't, like before I would take a wish and put it here.
Still you can use a wish.
But like radiating it from your whole body or just from, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. At a certain point, you just radiate.
You will lose feeling in your body.
Mm-hmm.
The feeling will go up into your head.
Okay.
You radiate from your head. That's it. You've become an advanced meditator.
No way.
Why do you think I was so happy for you?
You understand a lot more than you think you do right now.
I know, I'm changing.
Yeah. You have become an advanced meditator. You've lost your rookie status now. Okay, let's share some merit then. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we've thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddhist dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.